Hofstadter's essay on the Founding Fathers. Hofstadter's essay on the Founding Fathers makes a central point, that there were many tensions in colonial America. There were many tensions. And that these tensions, in effect, became the ongoing political agenda. Write that down, I'll explain it. There are many tensions in colonial America. And that the tensions that existed after the Revolution in particular became the agenda, became the political agenda. Let me give you one tension. One existing tension that we mentioned the other day was the friction between those people who owned property and those people who did not own property. The masses. Those people who owned property versus the people who did not own property was seen as potentially a problem. Why would that be a problem? Why would it be you listen, okay? Why would it be a problem in regards to property owners having a potential tension with the great masses of people? Nancy?
It would be because the poorer people, the non-property owning people, would sometimes get pushed around.
Please listen!
Would sometimes get pushed around by the richer people. The richer people would be scared that they might take their land and would constantly become, don't take my land,
take an opposite point of view. Take the opposite point of view. She takes the point of view of the wealthy people, in this example. Take the point of view of the poor people in regards to Hofstadter's essay. What about Shays' Rebellion? Somebody help me on Shays' Rebellion. Shays' Rebellion in Western Massachusetts, my friend.
The poor people didn't want to be overburdened with tax.
Individuals in Western Massachusetts felt after the Revolution that they were being taxed. They said, didn't we fight the Revolution not to be taxed? Didn't we fight the Revolution, in a sense, not to pay taxes? So they said. And as a result, Daniel Shays, a former captain in the American Revolutionary War effort, led a group of individuals to Massachusetts where they protested and did more than protest, threatened to kill the tax collector. Threatened to kill the tax collector. Threatened, in a sense, a counter-revolution. Write that down. Shays' Rebellion points out a tension between property owners, God bless you, a tension between property owners who felt vulnerable because they didn't have the necessary liquidity. Poorer property owners. Do you get the idea? They were poorer property owners who felt very vulnerable, and as a result, revolted in their way. Stopped the music. A revolt. What's the year of Shays' Rebellion? 1784, probably something like 1784, 1786, I don't recall exactly. You can look it up. But what's the problem? Ladies, listen to this. Now the revolution is over. You can no longer say you're going to kill the tax collector. Do you follow me? Before the revolution, we threatened the tax collector. Now the revolution's over. There is no more threatening the tax collector. That is unacceptable. Write that down. When the revolution is over, there is no more threatening the tax collector. That is not acceptable. It is not acceptable to threaten the tax collector. You can see that. And it is also not acceptable to do what? It is not acceptable to raise arms against the government. That was acceptable in regards to dealing with Great Britain. But that's over. Do you see what happened? The revolution will come to an end By 1783, there'll be a treaty with Great Britain. You know from 1781 to 1789, there's the Articles of Confederation. But guess what? Colonial people threatening officials is ended. Preaching violence is ended. Placing arms in a community for the purpose of continuing revolution, that is ended. Do you follow me? That tension, the tension from that begins to appear. Next idea. Wealthy landowners and wealthy merchants. Wealthy landowners and wealthy merchants, in particular, would be sensitive to protecting their property. Wealthy landowners and people with other real property, wealthy merchants, they would be very sensitive. They would be very sensitive to protecting their property. What would they fear? Obviously, they would fear someone taking their property. But what does Hofstadter say? How does Hofstadter explain it? What does Hofstadter say? What is worthy of being watchful over in Hofstadter's language? Go ahead.
He says that every man watches out for himself.
Yes, that's true. He has a very negative sense of humanity. Hofstadter explains that there are people who look at humanity. Are you listening? And look at people as though they are, wonderful creatures, and there are other people who look at individuals and say, yuck, yuck, you're a dangerous, slimy thing. That's what you are. You are yucky. You are more than yuck. You cannot be trusted. People cannot be trusted. They're evil, they're wicked. They take advantage of other people. They are unkind. They harbor resentment. They aspire to other people's properties. They are jealous. There is a wickedness in people that has to be contained. Do you follow me? And government is necessary to contain that. That's how some people look at the larger humanity. But that doesn't answer my question. My question is the wealthy merchants and the wealthy landowners, they are afraid of something, ladies and gentlemen. What they are afraid of, listen to this, is in a sense democracy. Write that down. They're afraid of democracy. But democracy means something here. Democracy, in the context of Hofstadter's essay, means that the sentiments of the people may be respected. Do you get the idea? When Hofstadter talks about democracy, Hofstadter is talking about how the people can be riled up, how the people can be manipulated, how the people can be controlled, how the people can act as a kind of great beast. Write that down. How the people can be a kind of great beast. Hold on. How the people can be a great beast. Can you appreciate that? The rule of the mob. It's the mob. When the mob is in control. But Professor, weren't mobs in control during the Revolution? Wasn't the Tea Party, in effect, a mob? When people who are loyal to Great Britain, when their houses would be taken down, when their houses would be burnt, when they would be tarred and feathered, wasn't this the action of mobs? Yes, it was the action of mobs, revolutionary mobs. Then mobs were acceptable. Now mobs are not acceptable. Do you see the tension? When the revolution's over, We can't respect the mob. The mob is a horror. The mob is a prelude to chaos. Write that down. The mob is a prelude to chaos. And so people of great property, they are sensitive to the mob. They're sensitive to the idea of democracy. They're fearful of it. And because they're fearful of it, ladies and gentlemen, because they're fearful of such democracy, this United States Constitution had a purpose. What's the purpose of this United States Constitution? What's the purpose of it? Think like a fox. What's the purpose of this United States Constitution? This Constitution would create a government above all the state governments, greater than all the state governments. Write that down. This United States Constitution would create a government greater than the 13 states. Greater than the 13 state governments. Can you see that? It'd be a government above the states, beyond the states. So that even if the mob took over in one particular state, it was very unlikely that the mob would take over the United States government. Do you get the idea? Maybe there'll be a fluke and someone like Daniel Shays will run for governor and become a governor, and maybe property in a particular state will be a fragile quantity. Maybe. But there'll always be a central government that will have authority, where people will have deference to the people who run the government. Write that down. There'll be deference, respect toward the central government. There'll be deference to be respectful of those who run the government. Can you see that? So this United States Constitution then, this United States Constitution was a document that was going to prevent further revolution. Write that down. This United States Constitution was going to be a document that was going to prevent further revolution. The revolution had come to an end with the United States Constitution. Revolution will come to an end. Can you see that? This United States Constitution is going to put a lid on that. There's not going to be revolution. There's going to be order. There's going to be a process. Just what John Adams' essay is about. The respect for process. Can you see that? All of these tensions come out. But professor, it's still democratic, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yes, it's still democratic, because here's part of the tension. Here's part of the intangibles. Even though the rich have a fear of the poor, even though the rich have a fear of the mob, even though the rich have a fear of democracy, they recognize something. Everybody recognizes something. The government only has legitimacy if the people say it has legitimacy. Write that down. All legitimacy can only come from the people. That's the irony of it. Do you see how ironic that is? There can only be a legitimate government if it comes from the people. If it doesn't come from the people, it can't be legitimate. Can you see that? See how ironic it is? On the one hand, how suspicious people are of the democratic system, but on the other hand, how they recognize that without being committed to the will of the people, there can be nothing. How ironic. Not only is it ironic, ladies and gentlemen, not only is it ironic, it's something more than ironic. It's something more than ironic. It's full of hope. It's full of hope that there will be, it's full of hope that there will be changes, that life will go on, that there will be growth, that people will see things differently, that people will change. How ironic! How ironic that in the founding fathers have no place for Obama, and Obama is president. How ironic. Do you see the poetry in it? Write this down, new idea. When Washington takes office, his Secretary of the Treasury is someone we could use today, Alexander Hamilton. The great Alexander Hamilton, former aide to General Washington during the Revolution, is now the Secretary of the Treasury. Hamilton and Washington, write this down, are very much Federalist. They are very much Federalist. When I say they are very much Federalist, I simply mean, ladies and gentlemen, they are interested in creating a government that has integrity and authority. Write that down. They believe that the government needs integrity and authority. They very much believe in integrity and authority. And they are going to be responsible for a series of ideas and acts that will demonstrate the Federalist philosophy. Where are the anti-Federalists now? There are no more anti-Federalists. There are no more anti-Federalists because the debate over the Constitution has come to an end. There are still Federalists. Who will oppose the Federalists now? Those individuals who will be in opposition to the Federalists will accept the leadership, write this down, of Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson will be the spokesperson for those individuals who struggle with federalism. Write that down. Jefferson will represent the philosophy that will grow in opposition to the Federalists. The Federalists will be represented by Washington and Alexander Hamilton in the first administration, and obviously many others. And Thomas Jefferson will represent the opposite point of view. I want to go through one bit of information with you. In 1790 and 1791, Secretary of the Treasury Hamilton will issue 3 reports to the Congress. Get this down. Hamilton will issue 3 reports to the Congress. We're going to talk about 2 of these reports. Jefferson will offer 2 reports. Pardon me. Hamilton will offer, thank you very much. Hamilton will offer 2 reports to the Congress. Report number 1, report on the public credit of the United States. The report on the public credit of the United States. Point A. Hamilton is going to write a report on the public credit of the United States. This report is going to be the basis. This report is going to be the basis of political argument. Don't write. Political argument, political discussion, political controversy, political crystallization. Do you get the idea? It's going to be the basis of a dispute, a great dispute. Report on the public credit. Point A. $12 million was owed. The United States government owed $12 million, or the Continental Congress owed $12 million to foreign governments and foreign individuals who provided money in the revolutionary cause. Write that down. $12 million was provided. $12 million was provided in funds so that the revolution could continue. This is when $1 million was a lot of money, okay? This is when $1 million was a lot. $12 million was provided by foreign sources to the Continental Congress. And the Continental Congress then you spent this money through its military arm, the Continental Army. After all, the war will go on for 6 years. From 1776 to 1781, the war will go on. 6 years in the field is a long time. $12 million was owed to foreign governments. Hamilton believed, as most people believed, this debt had to be immediately repaid. Stop the music. How many of you have MasterCard? Don't be ashamed. MasterCard, American Express, Visa, whatever the hell it is. Okay, you have your card, right? You have a card. When your bill comes, why do you pay your bill?
So you don't get interest.
He's obviously right. Why do you pay your bill? So you don't get bad credit. Why do you pay your bill? This is all true. Why do you pay your bill? But you're thinking like a pussycat, okay? You think like a pussycat. Why do you pay your bill, pal?
To build that credit?
Back to what he said, okay? You know, you two get to know each other, okay? Why do you pay your bill? Come on, my friend.
Because you owe them money.
People owe people lots of money. Who cares, you know? Why do you pay your bill? Listen to my question. Go ahead.
To not get in legal trouble.
Why do you pay your bill?
Because it's the government's money.
Because the government's money? It's your money, young lady, okay?
And my credit card?
It's your money. I wish I had a card with you, okay? Go ahead.
So they don't come after you?
Yeah, but that's true, but listen to this. Hold on. This is better. So you can keep borrowing.
Yeah.
You pay your bill, so you can keep using the damn card. That's why people have got 50 cards. Have you noticed? Here, take this card. You mean I can't have it? Try this card. This card. Maybe see if does this card work. You pay your bill so that you can keep borrowing money. That's why you pay. All the other stuff's terrific, but you know what? You got to keep the show moving. The card keeps it rolling. Hamilton says, "Are you listening?" Hamilton says, "Stay with me. You owe 12." You're not listening to anything now, are you?
Yes, I am. I owe 12.
No. You owe $12 million. Everyone must pay that we must pay that $12 million. There's no disagreement. We realize something. As a new country, we will have a continual need to borrow money. Write that down. As a new nation, we will have a continual need to borrow money. Yes, young lady.
Oh,
Nice and loud. Come on.
Sit to wave your hand.
Oh, okay. My last point. Here we go. Point B. Next point. Thank you. Glad that you did that, Nancy. Point B. $40 million was owed. $40 million was owed to individuals who bought bonds in order to fight the revolution. What's your last name? Pardon me? Lodgington. This is Colonel Lodgington. He has 200 troops with him in upper state New York. He came to my farm. He took over my farm with his 200 troops. He ate all my chickens. He ate all my chickens. He lived on my farm. He left me a note. He said, we took $10,000 worth of goods from you. When the revolution's over, you will receive $10,000. That was in 1776. Now it is 1791. I used the paper that he gave me to keep a draft out of my toilet area. I never expect to get paid. Hamilton says we have to pay not just the $10,000, but the $40 million that was spent in order to fight this revolution. Do you get the idea? We have to pay the $40 million. Get the idea? Listen, there's one problem. There's one problem. This guy came to his farm 2 years ago and said he saw the certificate hung up on the wall. He goes, I see that you were a patriot. I see that you gave them $10,000. You know, you're never going to get $10,000 from this federal government. I'll give you $2,000 for that certificate right now. He said that. Would you take $2,000 for the certificate?
Nowadays, probably no.
So, would you take? Many people would say they would take the $2,000. When Hamilton comes out with his proposal for the $40 million, he says, whoever gives me the certificate, I give them the money. Do you get the idea? Jefferson says, are you listening? Jefferson says, Mr. President, I object to such a plan. If the person originally bought the certificate, they should fully get the money. But if some speculator comes along and buys up the certificate, they shouldn't get the money. Washington says, are you listening? Washington says, whoever gets the certificate, gives me the certificate, gets the money. That's the only way we can do it. Washington favors Hamilton's plan, not Jefferson. Write that down. Washington favors Hamilton's ideas, not Jefferson's ideas, in regards to paying the $40 million domestic debt, that $40 million to fight the revolution. You could see that as reasonable, couldn't you? There's another $20 million in debt. There's another $20 million debt. Listen, many states also spent money to fight the revolution. Many states put out money. Massachusetts put out money. Many states did. Hamilton says, I think it would be a good idea if the new government paid the $12 million foreign debt, paid the $40 million domestic debt, and by the way, let's also pay the $20 million state debt too. Write that down. Hamilton wants the new government to pay the $20 million state debt. Hamilton wants the $20 million state debt to be paid. Jefferson is in opposition to this. Write that down. Jefferson opposes that. Jefferson opposes that. Listen to this now. Listen, don't write. Jefferson opposes that, but listen to this. Hamilton says to Jefferson was the Secretary of State, Mr. Jefferson, listen, Mr. Jefferson, we are going to build a new capital for this country. Do you want the capital to be located in New York City? Jefferson says, absolutely not. Do you want the capital in Philadelphia? Absolutely not. Jefferson wasn't into urban places. Mr. Jefferson, listen. Mr. Jefferson, what's that river near you in Virginia? That Potomac River? What if we build that new capital right near you in Virginia on the Potomac River? Would that make you happy? Would it make you happy enough to support the $20 million domestic debt? And Jefferson says, yeah, that would make me happy. Yeah, that'll do it. Washington, D.C. is built on the Potomac River because Jefferson and Hamilton agreed how the $20 million domestic debt would be paid. Is that clear? Stop the music. Now this new country has $72 million in debt and about 15 cents in revenue. If I borrow $5,000 from you, do you care about my health? Do you want to see me get hit by a truck? after I pay you the $5,000 back, I can be hit by 50 trucks. Because we realize something, don't we? When people owe you something, they care about your health. You know, when people owe you money, they care about you. Because debt, are you listening? Debt is a kind of glue that keeps people together. Write that down. Debt is a kind of glue that keeps people together. Hamilton believes we need some glue to keep us together. This new country needs some glue to keep us together. Because we're not naturally together, he would say. And the debt will keep us together. We will continue this discussion when we meet next time. Thank you very much.